while the insurgency regrouped under the glare of Camp Bucca, across the border in Syria, the fate of two nations was being forged away from prying eyes.
There were indications that there were secret meetings between the Assad regime, former Iraqi Ba'athi officers, and then individuals, jihadis, who would one day rise to head ISIL.
Their interest was in destabilizing the American occupation, keeping the Americans off guard across the border. At that point, the Assad regime wasn't sure of what the American intentions were vis-a-vis Syria, whether Syria was next, and there were lots of rumors to that effect.
I went and met President Bashar al-Assad twice and presented him with material evidence, documents, satellite pictures, confession, all sorts of evidence that his security forces were involved in active and transporting a jihadist from Syria to Iraq. And also, there were training camps with names and locations. He was in total denial of that. I remember telling him that this will, in no time, it will backfire on Syria.
President Bashar al-Assad's alliance with jihadists was all about short-term security at a time of heightened paranoia. For the jihadists too, Assad and the Baathists were simply a means to an end.
But whatever the motivation, the effect was very clear, that the senior leaders of the Islamic State group are sitting down with senior Baathists, in particular, a guy who became essential to the latest incarnation of ISIS, a guy called Haji Bakr.
I interrogated one of these ISIL guys. Now he said, all our meetings, we have a guy who hides his face, clean shaved. He's not the Amir, he's the deputy Amir. But no decision is made without consulting him.
Nobody knew much about him. He was so effective in remaining low profile that there was barely a photograph of him. There was barely an understanding of what role he was playing, what he was doing, or where he was.
He doesn't take part in the prayer. He doesn't practice Islam. And his jargon is not the jihadi jargon. It's the Ba'athist, pan-Arabist, Arab nationalist jargon.
Who knew a lot about how to create a state system, and certainly how to create institutions which would serve that system.
The alliance between Baathists and Salafists conspired in secret, while insurgents plotted in prison. A troubling perfect storm had been brewing since the US invasion of Iraq, but by 2009, the worst of the turbulence had supposedly been weathered. The Sunni insurgency was considered beaten. The newly created Islamic State of Iraq was drawing breath. The Arab world was on the cusp of an historic upheaval.